Between Two Barrels, episode 6, Mike Ratcliffe. I mean, what a wonderful honor to have you here. Or actually, thank you for inviting me at your place and for organizing one barrel. I asked for 2, but 1 is enough.
Budget cuts.
We'll absolutely do the job. So an absolute icon of our South African industry, Mike. Everything you do, everything you start has an incredible success. I mean, I really need a recipe for that after the show. However, I mean, starting from the beginning, you've had a family business, Warwick, which you brought to greater heights. You started Vilafonté, South Africa's most iconic luxury wine. You started the Cape Wine Auction, which is an incredible format event, has really changed the industry when it comes to a charity event. And most recently, you've been appointed the chair of the Stellenbosch wine route. I mean, do you sleep at night, Mike?
Actually, I think there's a process. I've had the fortune of being involved in some wonderful projects, and I'm sure there will be more going into the future. But yes, I do sleep at night. Everything I'm involved in has got good energy, so long may that last.
Absolutely. So let's start from the principle, from the beginning. So Warwick was in your family, so you were born, wine was going through your veins from the beginning. Did you know from the beginning that wine was your vocation? You knew that you would have made a living in wine? Was that clear for you?
That's actually a really good question, and something I often reflect with my kids. Because Warwick was purchased by my family in 1964. I lived there. I grew up there. I was involved in wine from day zero. And even when I finished university, I went traveling. At no stage did I consider a career in the wine industry. Perhaps I didn't consider any career, but it certainly wasn't preordained and there was no pressure. So I think wine found me much later, certainly in my mid to late 20s, when I thought, okay, this could be fun, this sounds interesting. And I'd been living abroad for many years, so I moved back to South Africa and got stuck in. So no, it wasn't preordained.
So was Warwick your main occupation, and at some stage you got inspired in your travels and you decided you wanted to start a luxury brand such as Vilafonté, or how did that happen?
So it kind of happened at the same time. It was only in my late 20s. I think I was 28 when I moved back to South Africa. I'd been living abroad for almost 8 years. And I moved back to South Africa and started getting involved in the family business, just as marketing manager, not yet as managing director. And it was in the early 90s that actually Michael Fridgen was running the South African Airways wine tasting competition for their wine list. And he invited these wonderful Americans, Zelma Long and Phil Fries, to be on the tasting panel in 1990. And it was then that they discovered South Africa. And shortly thereafter, they became friends with my mom. And my mom asked them to help with Warwick. And that's where the kind of story started. So the friendship started before the business. Vilafonté only got going in 1995 when the first vineyards were planted. And I only actually got involved formally at the end of 2000. So... Oh, wow. So it's been a long journey, a journey of relationships and friendships, a journey of experiences, and certainly the experiences have been rich.
I mean, no, completely, but also what I find fascinating is that a lot of people would tell you that it is nearly impossible to build an icon wine in South Africa and in the luxury field. And I think you've maybe, or perhaps because you started in the marketing role at Warwick, you knew what it takes to build a brand for the consumer and for a discerning consumer. You had your experience abroad. I would assume you've got inspired by the great wines of Bordeaux and the great wines of Napa, and you designed Vilafonté. Was it planned the way you see it today, or did it evolve since 2000 in its structure and in its branding and in its form?
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing question, because I often ask myself the same question and I never have an exact answer. I often see some of the greatest decisions I've ever taken. I don't really remember exactly what my thinking was when those decisions were taken. And so it's never really been a conscious decision to create an icon wine or a luxury wine. It's been very specific about the journey, being consistent in doing everything possible, correct, consecutively and consistently, always do everything right. One thing I learned from Zelma Long at an early stage in our business is there are no silver bullets. It's a great American expression. Just means there isn't one single thing you can do to achieve greatness. It's got to be a combination. You got to hit every single input and do it well. And so I think we've really been focused on a journey of quality as the core. Authenticity and sustainability have been supporting that, but quality has been what has held Vilafonté together from the start. And I don't think anything's changed. We're not flashy in any way. We just get on with it and we make the wine every year to the best of our ability.
But I mean, what is definitely was a key to success, in my opinion. You've been a visionary and a pioneer in identifying that the direct-to-consumer channel in South Africa would have been the future. And I don't know if you got inspired from overseas or not, but I mean, you've been one of the first to believe in what Port-to-Port does. And you've been one of the first to establish a very successful wine club. And I think today most of your sales go through direct consumer, I believe.
Yeah. I think it also came out of a belief that we'd like to know our customers.
Yeah.
So that authenticity of the direct consumer relationship has been very strong for us. But there are practicalities. We're not that big. So we wouldn't be able to supply a big retailer. Not that we necessarily would want to, but we couldn't. We have focused on those relationships, and that's been absolutely key. And I think probably one of our core building blocks has been focus. This is our entire range.
Yeah.
We only make one style of wine, Bordeaux blends, and we stick to our guns. We drink other people's Chenin Blancs, which we love, and we drink other people's Chardonnays and Cabernets, and that's all fantastic. But we only do one thing, and we try to do it very well.
And you do it very, very well indeed.
Yeah. And we try to do it over the long term. Building something takes a long time, and I would like to think we've built the foundations now, but we certainly haven't built the end product.
Absolutely. Talking about product, I mean, the range comprises 3 wines. So one of them is in our glass, which is an unreleased Seriously Old Dirt 2017, which drinks beautifully already. When are you going to release this one?
This will be 2 or 3 months from now, roughly October 2019. We're working on. In fact, this is the first time I'm drinking it as in a social occasion rather than analysing it in a scientific or winemaking context. So we're building up towards it, and it forms very much part of our strategy, our second label strategy.
Absolutely. And this is a trend that I see. I mean, worldwide now, how second wines are really gaining traction. I mean, it's an amazing product. But you have then 2 first wines. Is it correct to say that?
Yeah. So we often get asked the question, why M and why C, why 2 first wines? Well, we didn't have a recipe, we didn't have a plan. When we planted our vineyard, we planted the varieties that we love. That is the classic varieties, I would call them, Bordeaux varieties, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Malbec. And we allowed the vineyard to express itself. And after a number of years, we started blending those wines, and these 2 different styles emerged. One was soft and round and juicy. The other one was more structured, more intense. And that's how the M and the C emerged, let's call it from the darkness. We didn't know. And to tell you the truth, our initial plan was to launch one wine. But the vineyard didn't lend itself to that.
Right.
It produced 2 wonderful different styles, and as partners we decided that blending 2 wonderful but different styles into one could be seen to be averaging, and we've been conscious never to use averages in our business, rather look for the best expression.
Amazing. Oh, that's incredible. And all the wines are available on Port-to-Port, obviously, and we are very privileged that we have a selection of vintages as well, because this is obviously a wine that lasts decades and decades and decades, and it's a true collectible. So congratulations on Vilafonté. I mean, you've left Warwick, you've sold Warwick recently. Your focus is solely on Vilafonté, or not. This is actually not true, because obviously you can't stand still, and so you've taken on quite a few new engagements. So first of all, very successfully, the Cape Wine Auction, which has been, I mean, we participated as Port-to-Port in 2 years with a lot, and I've attended, I think, 4 of the years. How many editions did you do now?
So we've been going 7 years. We've had 6 auctions, and we're building now towards the 7th edition in 2020.
Right.
Pretty exciting. We've got a new board, new trust, new chairman, and some fresh new ideas, which is wonderful.
It's on February 14, is that correct?
Yeah, 14, 15 February 2020.
Can we reveal already the venue?
No, but the venue will be revealed in 5 days' time.
Wonderful. So to tune in, follow the Cape Wine Auctions social media channels. You will see it there.
Yeah.
But just a note on that. I mean, it's been apart from the level of execution. I mean, the Cape Wine Auction for me sets really the bar very high for any other event that follow in terms of hospitality, in terms of guest list and venues and also what you've given back and what the result. I mean, how much have you collected in total from the lots and that you gave back to charities in the wine industry?
So the amount that we have collected from the sale of auction lots is, I believe, 88 million.
Wow.
And there's a fair amount of other money that's been collected in terms of donations and ticket fees. But not quite on the 100, which is obviously a target for next year.
Yeah.
But we would like to not just achieve the 100, we'd like to blast through the 100. So.
Wow, that's really impressive, and really thank you for the contribution to the industry. And lastly, because I believe we're running out of time, time flies when we have these amazing chats, is you've recently been appointed chair of the Stellenbosch wine route, and that is also a very ambitious task. I mean, to represent all these producers and to take Stellenbosch as a brand and as a wine region internationally and locally to the next level. I mean, has something already changed since you took over, and what are the plans there?
So yes, and I wish we had half an hour to speak about this because it's such a big topic. A lot has changed. I'm very privileged to be leading a brand new board of young leaders, people that are passionate, innovative, excited for change, and there's been so much changed already. We are not just looking at inbound, we're also looking at taking the message outside. We are moving much more towards fine wine, focusing on premiumizing the region.
Right.
We've also launched a new tourism organization for Stellenbosch, so it's all connecting food, wine, accommodation and experiences is key for us. And I think it's one of those things where I don't think you ever really get to success. I think it will always be a journey. Like anything, this process with Stellenbosch, but the process with anything I do, just when you think you've achieved something, then your standards go up, and then you start scrambling to achieve the next standard. So I think Stellenbosch is going to be a long-term journey, but I've been blown away by the support. So everybody wants to achieve it, and Stellenbosch has got great building blocks.
Well, and good luck with that, Mike. And I think, no better person could lead Stellenbosch to a new era. And I think you've personally, I can say, you've been an inspiration for many entrepreneurs in this industry. And please keep up doing the great job. Stay here, believe in the country. I think it's thanks to your track record and successes that people believe that this industry has a chance to succeed and stand amongst the greatest in the world. So I think our time is up. Thank you very much. We keep on drinking, but we'll close our recording. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Cheers,
and thanks to everyone for listening.
Absolutely. Chin chin.